Welcome to the Referrals Podcast, the show designed to help everyone from the solopreneur to the Fortune 500 company win the referral game. If you want to build a company with an army of ambassadors and raving fans who speak highly of you and refer you willingly, you are in the right place. And now, here is your host, Michael J. Maher.
Welcome, everybody, back to Referrals Podcast. And this is an amazing podcast because we are looking at literally, this is going to drop the last week of the year, maybe even the last day of the year, the last day of the millennium. The 2010s are over. Crazy. So as we start not just a new month, not just a new year, but a new millennium, what are you going to do? What are you going to change? What are you going to make different in 2020 that you've never done before? Or what have you been doing and you're going to do a lot better? And that's what today's episode is really about. I have to give a quick shout out to some listeners and followers and people who have really followed Referrals Podcast. And my first shout out is, this awesome water bottle that I got from Neil Smith out of Sacramento, California. Neil is a certified referral trainer. He is a top producing lender. He is an all-around good guy. And I didn't really like him before, but now I like him. And what has changed? What has changed in the relationship? I got an awesome gift that I literally have used every day since I got it. I just flew to, where did I go? Orlando. And I take this with me. I fill it out in the filtered water bottle openers or water bottle filters at Atlanta and Orlando. Both have these super filtered water filters in the airports. I used it both ways. Cheers to Neil Smith. And I also have to give cheers to Bonnie Molinex out of Cartersville, Georgia. She is awesome. She says, every time I see a lighthouse, I think of you. And she sent me some handwritten note cards with lighthouses on the front, which she knows I will use and write. But here's the kicker. Here's what's really funny, Bonnie. You're going to love this. Bonnie, I wrote you a handwritten note after Referral Mastery Summit on the exact same stationery. The exact same card. You're going to get it, and you're going to think, he got that card, and he wrote me on a card that I gave him. No, I already had them. I already bought those same exact cards. So, very cool. So I just wanted to give a shout out. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being a part of the Referrals Podcast family. Thank you all for being part of the Generosity Generation. And we need to introduce one of our ambassadors in the Generosity Generation. We call her the Ambassador of Light. And you're going to find out why as she lights up this podcast. Welcome back, Sandy Krestan, loan officer, mortgage planner extraordinaire from Scottsdale and Phoenix, Arizona. Welcome, Sandy, to Referrals Podcast.
Thank you so much. I am so honored to be here. I'm so excited to finish 2019 right here with you.
Well, fantastic. I appreciate having you on as always. And she is a repeat guest on here. Why? She has so much value to provide. And so we thought it was really fitting to drop into the new year with some thoughts on, all right, so what are we going to do differently next year? What are we going to do better? What did we do right this year? So we're going to analyze this year very quickly. And then we're going to, all right, this is literally the transitional day, if you will, to the next year. And now Sandy's done all this planning for 2.5, 3 months, but today we're going to kind of summarize what she's done and go. I think the first thing is, Sandy, tell me about that. You know, you're a planner, you're a goal setter, you're a top producer, and maybe those things go hand in hand. And so what have you done over the last 2 or 3 months to kind of get your head straight for the next year?
Well, I took a look at what we did this year first. And yeah. I journaled and I had a little, what I call come to Jesus meeting with myself.
Nice.
And be willing to go, okay, what worked? what didn't work so well, and what do I never want to do again?
Yeah.
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 And so I think I looked back, and I started doing that in September. And then I went to Referral Mastery Summit, which was a huge blessing. And I, journaled about 10 different action plans, and I filled my whole workbook full of just places where it just hit my heart. That was my biggest thing. It's not about the numbers. It's about hitting my heart. And so I really looked at my change items for me and my business on hitting my heart.
So I love that you made Referral Mastery Summit kind of part of your starting to think next year. And for those of you that don't know, we're doing the Referral Mastery Summit October 8th through the 10th next year in Sandy's home state. And not only her home state, but her hometown. But we're actually doing this event in her house. And she didn't even know that until just now. But I had to say thank you so much, Sandy, for opening up your home to 500 of our closest friends. Yeah. So actually it's in Scottsdale, Arizona. If you're interested in learning more about that, referralmasterysummit.com, referralmasterysummit.com. It will sell out very quickly. We do have limited seats. We don't have the ability to expand like we did in Atlanta this year. We were sold out June 11th of 2019 for last year's. So we do anticipate maybe even selling out in the first quarter this time. And we had RMS where most of the people at RMS re-signed up for the next year. So referralmasterysummit.com. I don't want to make this an advertisement or anything like that, but hey, listen, if I didn't tell you about it and you found out it was sold out, then you'd be mad at me. So don't be mad at me. And you can thank Sandy for bringing it up, because that's what we designed Referral Mastery Summit for, was to get your 52-week plan for the next year outlined and backboned, and the battle plan is drawn up. Of course, you're going to have to fill in details afterwards, which is part of what we're talking about today.
Yeah.
So out of the process of looking over the last year and over the last maybe 9 to 10 years, like what did you get out of looking back a little bit and reviewing? What did you get out of that?
One huge glaring thing, and I would say it's my downfall and my success at the same time, is I have to watch what I say yes to.
Yeah. Wow.
I love giving and helping. I do. I mean, especially around the 7 levels, because I know it is the way, the truth, and the light. If you have to connect with people for a living, it's how you want to do it. And so I want to say yes to as many people as possible.
Yeah.
And I would say, especially, the last 3 years, I was saying yes to way too many times, and frankly saying yes to the wrong people.
That is a huge, so everybody, a lot of people who read and are professional and at the top of their profession have heard of this book called The One Word. Now, The One Word was actually, it's far older than the book that came out. And everybody's like, all right, pick your one word for the next year. And I'm going to tell you that for 99% of the people who are listening to Referrals Podcast right now, your word for 2020 might be no. Your word of the year might be the word no. Now, no can mean, it can be short for not now. It can mean just no, not now. And that frees you up to thinking, okay, I can do that later. Hey, would you like to be on the PTA? Thank you, but no. And that's it. Does it serve you? The problem is when we're in sales, everything's an opportunity, or at least we think so. And we have to just look at it as, all right, I'm going to say yes to the most important things, and I'm going to say no to everything else. And it goes back to, like Gary Keller said in the book, The One Thing, is what is the one thing such that by doing it, everything else becomes unnecessary and or easier. And the fact is when you say yes to a lot of things, it makes everything harder and it makes more things necessary that are also unnecessary. Think about that. So when you say no, it makes everything else easier and unnecessary. That's what's really cool about the word no is you're going to get more opportunities by saying no than by saying yes, which is just so counterintuitive. That is a bombshell of an aha that I hope everybody here gets. Is your word for 2020 might be no. It might be just simply, no, I'm not going to work with those certain clients. No, I'm not going to partner with those certain referral partners. No, I'm not going to go to that networking event or whatever it may be. Or no, I'm just not going to waste my time over here. No, I'm not going to eat that. That would be me, right? Lost 35 pounds in 2019. Great. But 2020 for me is, all right, 2019 was figure out what is healthy for my body. 2020 is about getting in shape. Like I used to be in good shape, but overweight. Think about that. I climbed mountains. I did all these cool things. I could outlast anybody just because I was in shape, but I was heavy, super heavy. And so last year was lose weight. Now it's all right, get in shape, right? Hire a trainer, get this Monday, Wednesday, Friday thing going and just do the best you can with the time you have and get in better shape. So, it's like, no, don't eat that. And then the other thing is, no, don't set all day. They say setting is the new smoking. And I have to tell you, there's a lot to that. I think the phone is the new smoking, but setting is what happens to us a lot because of the phone and because of the computer. So, Sandy, I didn't mean to go off on that huge tangent just from the word no.
But it's true.
Man, does that hit home.
It's so true. One of the things that I have on the wall in my office is something you said years ago was the focus, finish one challenge until success, and so I really looked at 2019 and I said, okay, man, we nailed our predictable, reproducible experience for our clients when it comes to mortgages. I mean, it is nailed. And so now I'm like, okay, now what's the next part? And so, and it's getting me to saying no, because there's so many times, hey, I heard about this great class you teach around the 7 levels. And I would go right to yes. Yeah. And I'm like, but the person who asked me couldn't tell me, hey, what's your favorite 2 things about the book? And I didn't ask. I do now. But yeah. I'm like, I didn't ask to figure out that they didn't get it, Yeah. So I really, it's, kind of the finish one challenge until success for the part of my business that it has to have the systems and the strategies and the checklist, and then the finishing the one challenge when it comes to, me with who I partner with.
Yeah. So the acronym Finish One Challenge Until Success, focus, is so key, because it's, in our business, especially if they're bigger challenges, like a transaction, we can't necessarily finish that challenge today because it doesn't close for 30 days or 25 days or 45 days. But finish one challenge until success. The challenge is, what do I need to get done on that today? Get it done, and focus, truly focus. And I will tell you that is one of the differences between average producers and top producers is average producers let things just they let open loops happen. And I don't talk about this very often, but this whole closed loop concept is close the loop, close the loop, get it done. And it might just be as done as you can get it, but it's done. Like you can't find your sunglasses. Find them. And then don't just find them, figure out, where am I going to put my sunglasses every day for the rest of my life? Where are they going to be? I have a place for everything, a spot for everything. And it's all these things are too often people are they're like, oh, I need to get this done. And they're like, I need to get this done. I need to get this done. I need to get this done. And they never get it done. It's like, it's always like, well, I made the call. I sent the email. And the truth is that it's still not done. Like, what would it take? And sometimes it takes you to break a door open or force yourself through resistance to get things done. And that's what top producers do, is when they get resistance, they don't stop. Like Sandy doesn't stop. She's going to get it done. Like if we don't have a closing date and she emails like, we need a closing date. And you know, the client's wondering when the closing date is, and everybody, and finally Sandy's like, I'm going to pick up the phone and I'm going to call the manager at the title company until we have that date. And then not only am I going to get a date, I'm going to get the best time and date for me. And I'm going to get the best time and date for my client. And everybody's going to be happy on my end. And they're going to be happy because the communication that they weren't doing has now been solved. So, I mean, we could end the podcast right there. Between no and finish one challenge until success. It's so, but let's dive into like you, right? Is, you know, how will you make 2020 better than 2019?
I think a big part of that for me is the really to put bars on my yeses. You know, if it my old coach, Kate Wilson, drew me this funnel. And so at the very top of the funnel is my faith, and then my family, and then, you know, me, and then my business. And so I'm going to be really careful what's going into the funnel. If it can't make it through that litmus test to the bottom of yes, I'm not saying yes. You know,
so if it doesn't agree with your faith, if it doesn't agree with your family, and it doesn't agree with you, and it doesn't agree with your business, then it's a no.
Yep.
Right.
And so
so fly. I like that. That's fly. Like first love yourself. You know, you maybe even put me up next to faith. You know, I think it's got to work for us even before it has to work for our family, which sounds selfish, but you can't serve your family as well as you need to if you're not. Trust me on that one, puppy. You know, I mean, that is like, that was me. You know, I wasn't taking care of myself. I was taking care of everybody else. But the problem was, by not taking care of myself, I almost died, for one thing. And number two is, now that I'm taking care of myself, I have so much more to give my family, my son, my wife, my dog, you know, and the community at large, because I have more energy. I can do more. I move more. I'm happier, and I have more to give. So I love that. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. And I think it's really about sitting and saying, you know, what am I going to do differently? I'm going to get back into making it a yearly habit, and I'm going to do it next week. Is I'm going back in and I'm regrading my entire database.
Wow. Said the lady who teaches grading all the time, right?
Yeah. I'm just like, you know, it's not, I'm taking quiet time. I'm printing it. I'm sitting with a pencil. I've got reports pulled, and you can't assume who your best are, right? Yeah. And it changes. I mean, I've been doing mortgages for 35 years. There's people I worked with 35 years ago
started when she was 10.
Are no longer here on earth. Yeah, right. And so I also think I've changed, you know, and I just.
How have you changed?
I think I believe more now in me than I ever have in my whole entire life.
You believe in you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe in me. I believe in what I know. I believe in, thanks a huge amount to 7L. And what I add is value. You know, I think for a long time, I'm just whatever, insert
a lender.
Name.
Yeah.
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 And that's so, I mean, that's just, that it's the limiting beliefs kind of thing. Well, and so I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think first of all, you're adding more value to the world than ever before, and you know it. And, you know, not to make a bigger deal out of the 7L system, but the 7L system, when people see it at first, they have a little bit of disbelief, like, no, that's too good to be true. It'll never work. and then they see these people who are making it work. And then, so they're starting to believe, but they're like, oh, I'm not sure if that'll work. And then what happens is they walk out and they're like, I can do this. And then they do it and it works. And they're like, I can do this and it works and it feels good. This is crazy. And then what happens is confidence comes and the chest is puffed out more, the head is up more. And it's like you start discerning the opportunities that come to you and the people who come to you. You become more selective, and that makes you more attractive. And I think that's a big part of the process you've gone through. You've even taken it to the next level where you're not just doing it, you're also teaching it. You're teaching this on a regular basis. And those that are in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area need to reach out to Sandy like today. Today is too late today to figure out a way to get on her schedule for her program. She is a phenomenal certified referral teacher and certified referral coach. And, she's probably as far ahead as anybody when it comes to this system. So,
and yet growing.
Yeah.
And that's like the crazy part, talking about the Referral Mastery Summit.
Yeah.
I had people going, well, why are you going? And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'll be done growing when I'm dead.
Yeah.
Right. And I literally filled my workbook.
I was going to ask you, how many pages of notes did you take at Referral Mastery Summit?
I filled every note page you had, plus I filled 2 other yellow pieces of paper.
Wow. So what is that, like 28 pieces of paper?
Yeah. My note is we need more empty pages to write in for next year.
Bigger book.
And I walked away with about 20 different action items for me, for my business for the next year.
Plus you met, plus you met 30 some CRTs they hadn't met before, certified referral trainers. And now you have all these other resources for people who, are doing what you're doing, and the community is glowing and burgeoning and growing. So, so how do you, I think one big thing that we need to talk about with like moving from 2019 to 2020, people need to source where their business came from. And that could be internet leads, it could be open houses, it could be, everybody, it drive-by, office visits, whatever, like literally all of it. But when it comes to the referral game, it's not just source to source. Don't just figure out who the referral source is, but figure out who the source of the referral source is, and then the source of that source of the referral source, and trace that back. Do the great retrace with your business for 2019, because this leads to Sandy's next point about give your best your best. And the only way to give your best is to recognize who the heck your best are, and it could surprise you. I think that's one of the big things. What do you teach around give your best, or what are you really seeing around giving your best? What does that actually mean?
It just means that for me, it is saying, if I try to do business with everybody, there's a really good chance that the everybody could suck the life out of me, and that everybody could be the wrong anybody.
Mm-hmm.
And so if I'm trying to do business with too many people, I can't take care. I can't give them my best. So that when I get around to what could be one of my bests at the end of the day, and I'm exhausted and I've maybe not had great conversations and I have nothing left for them.
Mm.
And in the end, it's my best when it comes to my family.
Yeah.
You go home and you're drained, and, somebody's taking out on you what happened to them. And, it literally snowballs.
Yeah.
And I think that for me for 2020 is really looking at who I've worked with that I really, really like, that wants to, is either already growing their business and living through the generosity generation, or finding some new folks that really, I like them, I'm learning about them, and they want to grow.
Yeah.
Like 2020 is the battle plan. It is, we laughed when we were together in Atlanta. You know, I'm building a moat around my people. You know, they're my castle. They are my kingdom. And I'm building a moat around them so that they know I'm there to take care of them, to protect them, to give them the best advice. You know, for so many years, we all assumed, oh, you know, everyone takes such great care. Well, that's bull. They don't.
Right.
There's a lot of stranger dangers out there. There's a lot of bad people. And if I'm not picking up the phone to connect with my people, shame on me.
Yeah.
Because they could get one of the bad guys.
Yeah. Somebody that's not going to take care of them or listen to them or really point out what's, you know, it's that's what's different about real estate and lending and many of these kind of things is that I think in the consumer, it's like a consumer who goes to webmd.com to decipher what illness they have, you know, and like you can't even do that with that WebMD, especially if you're a guy. I don't know how many guys are out there, but we go to WebMD and we're dying from cancer, even though what we went there for was a pain in our lower left back. You know, by the time it's like, oh my God, I totally have all these, I'm dying, you know, but it is one of those where, you know, that's how it is in real estate lending is we do know what is in better interest than actually the consumer. Like with Amazon or some of the, I mean, you're like, I really like this watch. I'm going to go buy the watch. And it's like, there's no consultation that needs to happen. It's like, go get yourself some AirPods or a TV or a watch. But with a house or a mortgage, like they don't know. They really don't know. Even the savviest, even the smartest don't know because the mortgage stuff is changing and the real estate market is changing every single second. So the fact of the matter is that we are very necessary and that if we don't do our job in building that relationship, they're probably going to make a mistake. And when you make a mistake with a house or mortgage, the mistake isn't a $5 mistake because you didn't type a discount code into a website. Could be a $5 million mistake over your lifetime.
Working by referral is not some fairy tale world. It's real. I've seen it. And you can too. Invest in yourself by learning how to run your business by referral at Michael's upcoming live event. It will be a day filled with hands-on, how-to, low to no-cost strategies that you can implement in your business right away. Learn how to run a business by referral that not only feeds your family, but feeds your soul. Go to www.gengenevents.com today. That's www.gengenevents.com.
So I think it's one of those where, you know, that's how I feel. Like, that's how I feel. I feel like when I was in real estate, I really felt like if they didn't work with me, I saw them at the edge of the woods. And I saw them like if they started working with someone else, I truly believed it was like a pack of wolves had come and grabbed them and dragged them into the forest and ripped them to shreds if they didn't work with me. And over here was the heavenly side, right? It was like, I know I'm going to work in your best interest. I know I'm going to put your interest above mine. I know I'm going to do a good job because I know the market and I know what I'm doing. And if it's not, if it's not going to work, then it's no deal, right? It's like, and now I feel the same thing in the training industry. Is I believe I'm saving people. I believe I'm saving people's careers. I believe I'm saving their marriages. I'm believing I'm saving their lives because in this business forever, it's been so hardcore. It's been so kill or be killed. It's been crush or be crushed. And the truth is it's you know what? You can do it with love, generosity, and appreciation. You can leave a legacy of love, generosity, and appreciation through your business. You know, how many of your clients would be at your funeral? You know, it's not how many clients would be the reason for your funeral, right? But it's like how many of your clients would be at your funeral? And I know some people are like, well, I don't want them to be. Okay, then maybe you're not serving them as well as you should be, you know? So
yeah, I found a Bible verse in Chronicles earlier this spring. And it was before you had put together, Referral Mastery Summit or the battle plan or any of that. And it's all about putting on a shield, having a sword, having the belt of truth, having the helmet, and I believe we have to put our battle armor on for our people, because if we don't, it can cost them more than just thousands of dollars. So it was, I don't ever think it's a mistake, right? I believe it's God, that opened that verse. I put it up there. We head to this. And I really do believe that if they don't come to us, it's a mistake, not because of what I'll make, but because how we care. That I really believe, with the storm of everything that's happened over the last couple of years, I believe it. I don't believe it. I believe it.
And this, and the industry we're in has never been under such attack as it is now. We faced a little bit of the bank attack probably 6 or 7, maybe 10 years ago. And we faced the attack of the economy. We survived that. But never has the realtor been under attack since maybe the banks wanted to get into real estate, which would have been just a colossal mistake. No offense to the banks of the world, but it was one of those where the real estate agent is under attack, not just from entity, Zillow, Realtor.com, which is kind of ironic, and Amazon being in the game. I just checked with Alexa, and she said that I can find you an agent in your city if you want. Amazon is going to find my city, or find my agent in the city? That doesn't sound right, And what are we doing wrong where people are more likely to listen to a fake virtual being over a real human? There's something wrong with that. And by the way, when you do that, it's like Alexa has no clue. It's going totally off metrics that have no sense. But anyway, so the thing is we have to build better relationships than Amazon and Zillow, and we know that, and that's part of what we got here. But I really want to make sure that I give those that listen this far into the podcast today, and I appreciate that. One of the most valuable lessons that I ever learned when it came to goal setting is this concept of there are results goals and there are activities goals. And results goals was what I always did. Like in football, it was completions and it was yards, and it was, and then through baseball, it was hits and batting average, and then, in real estate, it was transactions and volume and number of referrals. And those are all results goals. We do need results goals, but you're taking your eye off the wrong thing if you're looking at results goals. The problem with results goals, if let's say you set your goal at 200 transactions, is that you set it at 200 transactions on day one, you're not going to be able to do 200 transactions on day one. So it's a little bit disheartening to start the year with these results goals. And then you're going to go and like in October, you're at 120 and you have not pulled out your goals because you don't want to look at it. And then you pull it out and you said 200 and you're at 120, you're all disappointed, even though you had done 80 the year before and you're actually up 50% from the previous year. But those are all results goals. Results goals are great to get and set. But the ones we really have to focus on are the activities goals. Like, what are the activities that lead to the results? Is it 10 calls a day? Is it 5 handwritten notes a day or a week? Is it 3 events a year? And that's honestly the secret to my success, is that I have really focused on setting activities goals and letting the results take care of themselves. We track the results and we know what was the activity that led to the greatest result, but we focus on the activities because that's what we do the result is almost like unpredictable. The result is, and honestly, I've probably surpassed a lot of my results goals because I was more if I would have set my goal, I probably would have limited my activities. But the truth is I just focused on it. So I just want everybody to make sure, set your results goals, but what are your activities goals? Like, Sandy, how are you doing that in like your business and what you're doing as far as like using the battle planner and how you have your results goals, a certain million in volume and a certain amount of transactions. And so how are you also focusing on the activities, or are you more focused on the activities goals?
There's a great movie called Facing the Giants. And one of the things it says is your actions will always follow your beliefs. So my first thing right now is my belief game. So in my head every morning, not just, yes, affirmations, absolutely, but working on making my business better, working on the systems that need to happen to make it predictable and reproducible. I think the big thing for me is, 10 calls a day, the hour of power, it will literally change your world.
So is the hour of the power your 10 calls a day, or are you doing the first and 10 and the hour of power?
Both.
Okay, so you're doing the first and 10. So explain that. We haven't talked much about first and 10 on Referrals Podcast all year. So what is the first and 10 as you're applying it?
Right. So first and 10, I'm best in the morning. So if I don't have something that I'm teaching, my first and 10 time is 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning. It's anybody I owe a phone call to. Okay. This morning, it was following up with a client that promised to get us something yesterday. So in my database system, there was an alarm going off at 9 o'clock, this call to be done. And I put what I used to do was I had it on a piece of paper I created after I read 7L the first time going, oh, this is so amazing. Yeah. Now it pops up in my database. So even if I'm not here for some reason, one of the gal or guy on my team will pick up the phone and follow up on it as well. So I followed up on some missing documentation. I followed up with a title company we're doing some events in January, teaching 7 levels. So I wanted to make sure we saw that. I followed up with a referral that somebody returned the email last night. So it's anybody I owe a phone call to. It's reactive, or it's not proactive. The hour of power is like the sweet spot.
Yeah. Super proactive.
It is. It's so proactive. And I think the biggest thing that I used to do so wrong that it is so right at is I would pick up and just start calling, but I was getting the wrong people. And the hour of power is grade grading is not mean, it's necessary. Grade your people. And if I only have 60 minutes, man, I better make it the best 60 minutes that day. And who are the people that are going to make it the best for me? Yeah. And, that's where grading and why I'm going to regrade, and I'm going to let some people go. Yeah. That is hard for me. It literally, like just thinking about it right now is making me have a little bit of a heart palpitation. But I know they're not best for my business. And in the end, this is my business.
Yeah. You're doing great when you're excluding great people from your greatest people.
Yeah.
And that's the whole, when you meet up, right? The whole concept behind the meetings and the event. And it's just like, when you meet up. If you are truly meeting people who are more successful than you, more influential than you, more energetic than you, whatever it may be, then what happens is you fill your inner circle with these better people. Well, you know what? Some of the people who have stayed the same over the last year are going to be left behind. It's not a good thing or a bad thing. It's just like, if you had 1,000 people giving you 9 referrals and 1,000 people giving you 1 referral, well, the 1 referral people used to be awesome because you were getting 0 before, but now you have 1,000 giving you 9. Well, you know what? You've got to focus your 1,000 on the 9. or your time on the 1,000 who are giving you 9. It just makes sense. I like it. So grading the database, regrading the database. Grading is not optional. Grading is mandatory. And then rolling into the first and 10. And the first and 10, as you're implementing it, is your first and 10. I love that. And in your case, it's a little bit of reactive, but it's reactive and urgent. It's reactive and important. And then you've got, some people with the first and 10, it is proactive and urgent, right? Where it's like, I'm going to surprise people who I just talked to, right? And then it's the hour of power is very proactive and important, right? It's proactive and important in that, these are people who are past clients or forever clients or agents that we work with or whatever. And we're just going to call and surprise them, most likely to invite them to an event or tell them something you just learned. And then you've got the noon to 1, which is reactive and urgent, right? Which is people have called you and now you've got to return those calls because they called during the time, or they emailed you and you'd rather call them back than email them back. So I love that. That's a pretty good morning right there. So what advice would you give to someone who is new to 7L? Because, there are people who this is the first podcast they've listened to, and they're starting a new year with a new way of doing business. So what would you tell them? Where do they start?
I would say welcome first, because you are literally in for an amazing journey. And I would just say, when you read the book, read it and then read it, consume it.
Yeah. Read it twice at least.
Yeah. I mean, I still have my original black book that I wrote all my notes in and just consumed the book. And I don't lend that out to anybody anymore because I had to stalk somebody down one time when I lent it. Just know it's a change and it's different than what anybody else out there is talking about, teaching, implementing. But know that, you could literally go, get an accountability partner, huge, go and be part of our generosity generation that Michael has built. And you're going to connect with other people and you're going to see they started probably right where you were, but years ago, and this amazing things that are happening, that's where that faith happens. You're seeing it. It's, it's the success stories within the people living and sleeping and eating and breathing 7L that is going to give you just faith to just push through the pain. Because listen, if it was easy, everybody would do it. It's not, but it's so good. I mean,
you're saying it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it.
Oh, it's not hard.
Yeah.
But it's not easy.
Yeah. It's simple.
And yet, so few people do it. So I would just encourage you to reread the book. I would encourage you to plug in to this whole thing. I mean, you've got Referrals Podcast. You've got so much within the Refer Code team, the Generosity Generation, to plug into and get to some support. Because water cooler is going to be, that doesn't work. You can't have a whole business based on referrals, or you have to go buy leads, or you have, that literally could be, the downfall to you implementing, but plug into the group. And I mean, it's just so amazing in the support, amazing.
Well, I appreciate that. And those that are listening to this, you still have an opportunity. I don't like to make Referrals Podcast a lead-in to any type of paid activity or anything like that. But I believe that we still have room in Event Mastery Class. Check out eventmasteryclass.com. If it says sold out, I apologize. It is sold out. But Event Mastery Class starts on January 6th. And I will be personally teaching that live every Monday for 7 weeks. And I am going to hold your hand through you doing your first event for the new year. So literally, I'm going to help you throw the biggest, best event you can ever do to start your year off right. So that's eventmasteryclass.com. And I would encourage you to tap into that. It's my favorite class to teach because it's results so fast. And I will tell you that I think that everybody who is listening to this, I hope that one of the things that you got from this is the whole thought of finish one challenge until success, focus. And if I would wish anything on the real estate industry and the realtors in it, it's just like I would wish focus and clarity upon all of them. And I think that's that beauty of what we do within our system is that you know exactly who to talk to. You know exactly what to talk to them about. You even know when to talk to them about it. And when you talk about these things, it leads to referrals and it leads to follow-up. And like I said, I sometimes these referral podcasts, I worry about them turning into too much of an ad for Michael Maher or 7L or RMS or whatever. But also, if I didn't believe in all that, we wouldn't talk about it. And if the people, our guests came on and they didn't believe in it, they wouldn't talk about it either. But it's one, I think if I were going to wish anything, it's like focus on referrals. Focus. You can't focus on internet leads because it's unpredictable. You don't have any control over the internet lead, and you have no control over the communication with the internet lead coming to you. It's like that's the problem with like Zillow and Realtor.com and all is you're buying leads that they're also selling to other people. And so what if they raise the fee? You got to pay it because you're not in control. You're not in control of what if what they do doesn't work anymore? You don't have control over any of that. So, if they gave you 100 leads one month and 2 the next, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Cancel? No, you can't cancel. They have no cancellation. So that's the beauty of referrals is you're 100% in control of generating referrals and giving referrals. And I just think keep your eye on the prize, which is referrals, which is why we have Referrals Magazine, why we have Referrals Podcast, because it's about referrals. And speaking of that, Sandy has a great download from this episode. Those of you that are new to the podcast, I have a really cool thing for you, is a gift for you. And that is not only will you get Sandy's 90-day breakdown, chunk it down, goal setting form, but you're actually going to get every download from Referrals Podcast in 2019 by going to referrallibrary.com. You are not just going to get Sandy's download. You are going to get 51 other downloads by going to referrallibrary.com, but you have to go the first week of January because after that, you're going to have to buy a library card. Right now, the library card is free. Go make it happen. And Sandy, thank you for that sheet and that help and all of your wisdom. And you always, I have to tell you, I've never asked you this, but you say, 7L is the way, it's the light, it's the path. What do you mean by that? And I'm genuinely curious, like what do you mean by that? If part of me has wanted to not ask you that because of so many comparisons to a Bible and this religion and that kind of thing. And I am extremely spiritual, so I don't hide that very well. I don't hide it at all. But it's one of those where, you say that all the time. So you are the ambassador of light. You even have a nice, wonderful halo light on you right now. So it's like, what makes you light up so much about this? Or why do you keep saying it's the path to light?
I believe it's the way, the truth, and the light. I believe that because I have the Bible for my life. Yeah. And I think I've been doing mortgages since 1984. Mm-hmm. I have seen every trainer. I have seen every sales system. I have bought a whole bunch of them. I have bought script books and manuals and flashcards. You name it. And for me, it's about the way it's the truth. It's about taking care of people. That can never be wrong. And we it gives you the roadmap. You know, so many different books or systems or whatever, they tease you, but literally through the book and coach, you get the roadmap. And then, which is awesome. I mean, do coach, listen to coach in the book, implement it. And then we have the rest of the journey with, okay, that's great. Now we're building referrals one at a time. So why don't we times 7, times 15? I mean, Toro, what did they just have? Times 39, times 80, whatever the number is.
Yeah, 95.
You know,
she got 95 referrals and she sent out 161 to her sponsor partners.
Crazy. And so it's saying, you know, and I know, and just with that, someone's going to go, oh my gosh, I could never do that. And I want you to know you're not alone. And there's a piece of somebody within the Refer Code team or who's implementing, and I keep touching my book that we just got. There's somebody that is where you're at or has been, and maybe they're a little further than you are, but they're all willing to share in hope and give you the roadmap. And there is not another place that I've seen and know of, and I've seen them all, I feel like at least, where you get that. You know, and I think it's not about me. It's not about Michael. It's about you. And you're out there listening and you know and hear there's a better way, and it fights against what a lot of people want to sell and tell out there. But there is a way, there's a roadmap, and there's people that have gone before you that aren't just looking back laughing. They're looking back with the hand going, come on, I want to go. I want you to come with me. And that's what's so exciting. And that's what I loved about Referral Mastery is there's people doing things better than me in the areas that now I'm so excited with 35 years of doing this about 2020 and beyond. It's just crazy. And nobody shares this much out there except for this group.
Yeah. That's what I loved about Referral Mastery Summit is what you do at a conference is you learn what's possible. And we have such a great group of CRTs who modeled sharing, caring, being generous, loving, and appreciative. They modeled it. There is one thing about talking about this community of loving, generous, and appreciative people, and then there's meeting them. And it just like that, everybody was just shocked at it, just like, she just gave me her entire Vendors We Love program. She just gave me the entire, and it's like, yeah, they almost want your success more than they want their own because they're already successful. So I think the beauty of that is that this isn't about me. It's not about Sandy even. It's about you, the viewer, the listener, the one who is learning this. That the 7L system is not about doing the events we tell you to do or doing the one-on-ones or making it. It's like we don't tell you who to call. We don't tell you all that. We truly believe that you need to run this business the way you run it with helping people, and they're gonna reciprocate. So bottom line is Sandy, people need to hire you. They need to bring you out to teach, and you are a certified referral trainer and a certified referral coach. How do they get a hold of you? How do they reach out to you?
They can get me pretty much anywhere because it's almost 2020. Yeah. Just go Google Sandy Krestan. My cell is always a great way to text me, call me, is 602-820-5166. And I would I'm on the website at Referco, referco.com.
What's your best email?
Best email is going to be Sandy, SANDY, at the Krestan team. So that's TheKrestan team, TEAM.com.
Sandy at thekrestanteam.com. Yep. Yeah. Very good. Well, Sandy, I really appreciate it. And Sandy, happy New Year. Right? I feel so like I need one of those sound machines. Woo! Happy New Year!
Nice.
I am so excited about 2020 and the future of Referrals Podcast. And I want you to know, as a viewer, as a listener, we want you to be on Referrals Podcast. Let us know what you are doing, what you have implemented. What are you doing? Even you're like, I did an event, but I didn't have any referrals or whatever. It doesn't matter. You implemented. The beauty of Referral Mastery Summit is there were people who'd only been doing the 7L system for 6 or 8 months who were speaking because they were master implementers. And I will tell you, implementation is everything. We don't have people on here who just talk. We have people on here who do it and then talk about what they did and then talk about what they're going to do better. And that is the core. These are people who get referrals and they're sharing how they get referrals. And I will tell you, 2020 is going to be your best year ever. It's going to be your best year ever because you know what you didn't know. And insanity, as defined by Mr. Einstein himself, is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. And we, Sandy and myself, and the entire Generosity Generation community, we encourage you to go from insanity to intentionally. Go from insane to intentional. Be intentional with your business, with your life in 2020. And we will see you in 2020 on the next Referrals Podcast. Thank you, everybody.